All right. All right. So what we're going to do tonight is essentially review the To-Do app challenge, or implementing authentication into the To-Do app challenge, and modify either the models of the To-Do app as well as the views to accommodate a user. So with that, let's go ahead and let's just get this up and running. So here's my To-Do app. I've got my To-Do project that has some URLs. For this URL, I'm not going to tasks because typically we would do like tasks or to-dos. I'm going to use just the base, the very, I'm not going to have any URLs at the end to go into our URLs app. And that's just a design choice I'm making. But so it's going to look at, if it just goes to / it's going to look at the URLs or the To-Do app URLs. And then in here, I'm going to add that task if I need that task keyword on it, or the task word prepended on to the URL. So I've got this task list, new to do, task detail, edit task, delete task. Let's go into the views. These are all just basic function-based views. So I've got the task list, task detail, new to do. So I probably should make these like task lists, maybe new task instead of new. But so it looks like I'm interchanging these a little bit, like the naming of it. I'll actually change that to new task. New task. That might throw off some of my templates because I've got, let's see, I think everything should still work. Task detail, new task right here. But let's get this up and running. Just take a look at the models. So I've got this model, which is just the name of the task, whether it's completed or not. It's not attached to a user or anything because we don't have users yet. I also got the form, but yeah, let's get this up and running. So I'm going to activate the virtual environment. All right, and now I'm just going to Python manage.py, start the server. All right, server is running. Let's go ahead and go to localhost 8000. It's not 8000/tasks or to do, because again, at the very base URLs in the project, it just looks here, and then it tells us to look in the URLs. So here, if there's nothing coming after the that first /, it grabs the task list, which is right here. So I've got all tasks. I can visit a task second. I can edit the task. So yes, this task is complete. I can go back to the all tasks. I can create a new task, delete this task. So this is the task name. Is the task complete? Yes. I can edit it. So no, the task is not complete, and then I can delete that task. Delete this task isn't deleted. So it looks like delete doesn't work right now. Let's see why it does not work. So that's a good thing. We should just debug right away. Am I recording? Yes, thank God. All right. So looks like all the routes work except for the delete task. That isn't crucial to make this entire authentication working. But let's take a look at this. I can see what's going on right now. I can do this super easily just by doing that, and that should take care of that. So if I delete the task, not edit, delete this task, delete, and it's deleted. So what was it? It was originally looking for a post request, but when I visit that URL by clicking that link to that URL, it's a GET request. So it's not necessarily a form. All right. Does anybody have any questions about this initial to-do list or tasks? Django app?
Not necessarily as per se, but a part of it. Can I ask you a question related to the URLs?
Yep.
The URL patterns, if you have multiple apps, right? And you're doing that first empty there for the include, would each path to include for each app's URLs would then also be empty, just so it knows to go and look for whatever's there?
Wait, say that one more time. So if the first part is empty, like this part?
Yes. So you have your path there that you're naming is empty.
Yep.
But if you have exactly right there, if you have multiple apps, it's okay to have multiple basically empty strings there.
Yes.
To just tell it to go look.
Yep. So what it'll do, it's just going to essentially iterate through this array, look for a path that matches what's in the URL. If it's just a forward slash, obviously admin, so it's not going to come into here. Then it's going to come into this one. Then it's going to go look in the to-do apps URLs. Then it's going to loop through these to see if there's any pattern matches. And then if there is, great, it'll run through the task list. If there isn't, it'll loop through them all. And then it'll go on to the next one and then look into another app URLs until there's a match.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So, cool. So with that, go back to all tasks. I just did something. Oh. So let's start that again. And let's grab, let's start doing the authentication part of this. So I'm going to keep everything separate. So I'm going to create another app, Python manage.py start app. And I'm just going to call this app called accounts. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm just going to call it accounts. Like so. So I've got this accounts app. Next, I'm going to register this app to the Django project. So under here, just say accounts. And for this project, I am using a Postgres database, using a database called Todo. So I added the accounts to the Django project. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just create the model of this account. So with that, what can we do? So I'm going to inherit from the abstract user model, just like we've been doing from the past. Django, contrib, auth models, import auth or abstract user. And in here, I'm just going to create a class user and inherit the abstract user class. And should there be any additional fields? You don't necessarily have to have additional fields on it if you just want to rename this user class, but I'm going to have, let's see, if the user is a premium user, oh man, now my developer, like my features, I want to like implement additional feature because right now we just have a single task list. I want like the user to have multiple lists too, but I don't want to get into that that depth for this. But if they're a premium user, they can make an infinite amount of to-do or tasks. If they are not a premium user, they can only make like 5 tasks or 3 tasks. So I'm just going to say is premium equals models dot Boolean field default equals false. I think we've done something similar to this in the past. All right. Now, in our actual Django project settings, we're going to have to tell Django to look at this user as like the default user for the entire Django project. So down here, I can say abstract user or auth user model equals accounts dash user. All right. So we've done that. Next, what we'll want to do is in our, so you've got a user. I'm just going to do def under string self return self dot username. So we've got our user model, but now, shoot. Now we're going to want to assign in our to-do app inside of our models, we want a task to belong to a user. So what we can do is import the user model from our accounts app models. We can import the user model. So here we're importing the user model from our accounts app, and we're importing it into our to-do app. So here it's a user equals models dot foreign key. Not foreign object. User on delete models dot cascade related name tasks. So we can get from the user to and get all the tasks associated with that user. All right, and we might get some errors, which is okay. So now I'm going to Python manage.py, make migrations to the accounts app. Might get an error. Nope. All right, so it says it is possible to add a non-nullable field user to task without specifying a default. This is because the database needs something to populate the existing rows. This will be set on all existing rows with a null value for this column. So I'll just check one. So which, do I already have a user? So I'll just say false. All right. So well, I already had a super user created, I believe. Well, we'll check it out. Python manage.py. So I made the migrations for the accounts, but I have to re-migrate the task. So this might be a little bit different. I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to do this. So manage.py, make migrations to do app. All right, migrations applied. Oh, so migrate accounts. All right, so something's going on. Since it's easy, since we don't have a whole lot of things in the database, let me just connect to the database. And what was it to do? I'm just gonna grab the user. I'm just gonna delete this user. And where's the to do? I just want to see if this works. I'm just gonna make. All right.
I had the same problem on when I was playing with yesterday, and I had to delete the migrations file also before I did it.
That's weird that they make you do that. So they had you delete the migration for.
I think I only had one app, so I can't answer that, but yeah, it worked.
Let's see. All right. So PY migrate. All right, what's going on here? Drop DB. Yeah. So what you can do, if you're running into errors like this, just for the sake of time, create DB. There we go. All right. All right. So let's just make sure. Manage.py, run server. So it's not going to have anything in the database anymore. So if I do a hard refresh, there's no tasks, but everything should still work. But I'm not actually doing any authentication or users, which that's what I want to do. So, all right, so I've got a tasks, I've got a user. I could create a super user just so we can look in the dashboard. So let's just do that. Python managed app. But first, hold on. Before I create that super user, let's register that user model to the admin panel. So from models, import user, admin site. So admin site register, user. So I'm going to create a super user. Python manage.py create super user. I'll just do TA pre tom@email.com. Why is it AB? All right, so now let's go ahead, run the server, the start server, run server, I always forget. All right, so now I can go to the admin, TA pre. And there we go. We've got our users and our tasks. And if I wanted to create a new task, I can create tasks with this user. But we don't need to do any of that right now. All right. So we have our accounts. Now let's go ahead and actually create our login, like our routes to our login, sign up, and log out. So I'm gonna just close some stuff. So we need our to-do project. All right, so our routes to here, we're gonna go to /accounts and then include accounts URLs. And then inside of our accounts Django app, I'm just gonna copy the URLs file over from here. So has anybody seen this app name before?
Yes.
I use it pretty often.
Yeah, so app name, oh geez. Sorry. So app name, you're able to name, what is it? Essentially, if you have multiple apps with possibly the same view type, Or within, so if you have the same named view methods within within a multiple apps, you can prepend, you can like essentially name your app. So when you're doing named routes, you prepend the app name followed by that named route. So that way your Django project doesn't get confused when it's trying to look for a specific named route that might have multiple names the same. So if I had multiple apps that have an index method, but I have one app named polls and one app named results, I would be like polls index or results : index. So that's just one way to do it. So I'm going to do accounts. So here inside of my accounts app, I'm going to create a path to log in. That's going to have a views of login user, name, login user. I'm going to do the same thing with sign up and log out. So no named accounts URLs. It's because I just created it. There we go. Now it doesn't have anything named login user. So let's go to our views. And in here, we'll actually go ahead and create, yeah, let's do login user first, just to try to get a user logged in. All right, so def login user takes in the request. Now we're going to have to display a form that has a couple of username, password. So just like we typically would like create something like a post or create a record, we need the difference between a get request and a post request. So I'm going to do if request dot method equals post do something, else. I can assume it's a get request, or I can even just say if request dot method equals get, then display a form. So we're going to have to create a sign up form. So here form sign up user form. And then so we haven't created that yet. So let's go ahead and create that sign up user form. So inside of our accounts app, we're going to create a form. So from Django import forms, from Django contrib auth forms, we're going to again use that built-in user creation form that already has all the fields laid out for us, but we're only going to select what fields we want the user to fill out. So user creation form. All right. So from .models import, we're going to import the user. And then we're going to create that sign up user form, which is going to inherit from the user creation form. And class meta. We're going to do model equals user. And then the fields that we want from the user form or from the user are just the username and the is premium when a user signs up. The password field's already going to be there for us. So in here, from forms, import this sign up user form. Shouldn't do pass here. And then finally, we're just going to return render the request accounts the signup.html template, and we're going to pass that form in as a prompt or as data. So now we're going to have to create some templates, accounts, so templates, accounts, and then a signup.html template. And then in here, I'm not going to do templating. I'm just going to say sign up. I'm just going to leave that. If you want to do that later, H1 sign up. Form method equals post. Actually, yeah, I can't do that. Post. We're going to have a CSRF token. And then we're going to display the form as paragraph tag. And then lastly, we're going to have an input, or we can have a button, whatever we want. So like sign up, type equals submit. It has no attribute sign up user. So if I do everything, accounts views has no attribute sign up user. Accounts views. Oh, yep. So I'm going to do def sign up user, takes in the request, pass, and then also log out user. Everything should be working. All right. So now if I go to accounts/login, all right, context must be a dict rather than a set. What does that? I've never seen that error before. What am I looking at? Form. Accounts/login. Has anybody seen that one before?
Should it be a colon or a semicolon between form and form? Or is it the comma on line left?
Oh, you are so smart. There we go. So here we go. We've got the username is premium, password, and password confirmation.
I've got a question on this.
Yep.
So we display this using form as P. How would we modify that with CSS?
So inside of your user creation form, you can add additional attributes that that target different. You can like change specific items in here. Yeah, so that's how you would be able to edit specific fields on that form. So like how to add custom CSS to Django forms user creation form. So custom user creation form. So you can add it as P as that's stupid. So you can, but yeah, you can also add target specific fields within here, as well as like an actual custom CSS inside of here. You can add attributes like classes and stuff within the sign up form, and then just have like a CSS file to customize it.
Okay.
Cool. All right. All right. I just realized I was filling out the login user method, but I'm doing everything using the sign up form and everything. So let's just get sign up done, sign up user, and then we'll deal with the login user after sign up. So just, I was originally filling out the login user, but I was filling out the logic for it was for the sign up form. But let's go ahead and just continue filling out the sign up user form or method, and then move on to the login user. So once a user signs up, username, password confirmation, then click sign up. It's going to be a post request from here. So it's going to be a post request. And we can do the form. We have to equals sign up user form and pass in the request dot post data. Then we can say if the form dot is valid, we can form dot save. So save a record. Then we can just return redirect to a specific URL. We'll just return redirect to the login user. So we're gonna have to import the login user, login, or not login user, the redirect. And if else, so if the form isn't valid, we can just return to either return the sign up form. That's not going to work. We can just return redirect. Back to the sign up user. So what I'm thinking is if the form is invalid, it's going to redirect to the sign up user, which is going to come up here, which is going to be a get request. That's just going to refill out the form. So if I do this, login user didn't return HTTP. Where does it say that? I guess sign up. There we go. Sign up. So if we sign up a user, Tom, AB 1212, click sign up. All right, login user not found. Where does it say that? So redirect to login user. I guess I could just go to /accounts /login. Yeah. All right. Log in. So I'm getting errors. So it looks like
in the notes I have from your other example, you were using redirect and then you were using reverse.
Yeah, what is it should work with just redirect. Let's see. All right. So a model, good absolute function will be called, a view name, possibly with arguments. Okay, return, so a view name with reverse. But we've resolved. All right, let's try that. Resolve, or what is it? Reverse. And this should accept login user. Reverse. All right. All right, why isn't that working? Oh, because login user isn't returning anything. Sign up. Tom 2. AB. All right.
I think
Okay.
Django reverse is from URLs, not shortcuts.
If you use an app name, don't you have to include that in the redirect as well?
You might. That's a good was it accounts? Yeah. But why is it okay? Let's keep signing up users. Let's
The
do it.
Django reverse is from Django URLs, not shortcuts.
Where'd it go? Redirect. See, it's right there. Django redirect shortcut.
Yeah, but you added the reverse up there with shortcuts, and it's from Django URLs right there. Yeah.
Here it shows it's from.
No, reverse, not redirect.
Oh, there we go. All right. So Django URLs
Yes.
from Django.urls, import reverse. Thank you all. So Tom 3. Probably should. All right. So cool. So that worked, even though we're getting an error because login user isn't returning an HTTP response, it's still working. All right. So redirect. I'm gonna do reverse to sign up user. All right. Now let's tackle the login user. So just like the sign up user, we're gonna do if request dot method equals a post request. Do something. We can also do else or just if request dot method equals get. Do something else. So we can build out a form, login user form, create an instance of that, which we haven't created yet. So inside of our forms, let's go ahead and split the screen and take a look at the login user form. So class login user form inherits from the forms.form class. And then we can explicitly say what inputs we want this form to consist of. So we'll have the username equals forms.char field, max length. I don't know what the max length is for the user, but we'll just say 255 or let's say 200. And then we'll have the password. And instead of, we'll also want that to be a char field, but we want this to be a password char field. So it doesn't actually explicitly show the password. Does anybody remember what kind of widget that I need? So we've got this password input widget attached to that char field. So now we can import the login user form. Let's go ahead and close that out. Let's keep that open. Now, just like what will be up here, return render, but instead of the sign up form, we're going to create the login form template. Sign up login.html. HTML, we'll just do the boilerplate. And form. And this one is going to be method post. We need that CSRF token. Then we do the form SP. Then we can have the button. log in, type, submit. There we go. Now, if I refresh this, I should get that username. Let's get that H1 tag in there. There we go. So once I fill out a username and password and click login, it's going to be a post request. So if I go to views, inside of here is where I'll want to perform the logic. So if the form is login user form, I need to pass in the request, the post request. And now I can say if the form that is valid, now I need to actually extract the username and password from that form. So the username and password from that form. And does anybody remember how I go about grabbing the username and password from that form?
Is it within like request.user?
Not quite.
Is it the clean data and then the key value?
Yep.
of The name of the field.
Yep. So the is valid method, if it's true, it adds a clean data object to the form, and it adds the key of username and password to that clean data object, and it with the value of the username and password. So I can extract the username equals form dot cleaned data. And again, this clean data is added to the form if this is true. So you can say like cleaned data Django, cleaned data. So here's the documentation for that in the inside of the form class. The form instance has an invalid method, which runs validation routines for all of its fields when this method is called. If all the fields contain valid data, so if the user typed everything that the form requires, and it will return true. And if it does return true, it placed the form's data in a clean data attribute, which is an object where the keys are the username and password, and the value is what the user passed in. So username, password. And now, once I have the username and password, I can go ahead and authenticate the user. Django. Because Django has a built-in authenticate method. Again, it verifies a set of credentials. It takes credentials as keyword arguments. So username and password for the default case. So that's the default case. If you want to use email, you can do that. You just have to pass the email in with that authenticate method. So I'm going to have to import the authenticate method. So from Django contrib authenticate, I can say, hey, is this a valid user? Authenticate username equals username, password equals password, like so. And I could say if the valid user is true. So if something is true, because you can see if user is not none, so that means if a user object is returned, the back end authenticated the credentials, else it's not authenticated. So if the valid user, if that's true, I can then go ahead and actually log in the user. So if I look at for that login method. So how to log a user in. If you have an authenticated user. So if we have a authenticated user right here, and you want to attach to a current session, this is done through login. So we just pass that request. So here's exactly. So if you don't use this form as valid, who said that before? You can grab it from the post request, the username and password. Who said that before? Someone did. Anyway, so you don't have to use this form as valid, but it's best practice too. You can just literally extract the data from this, the requests. All right. So if the user is valid, we can request valid user. So then we're going to have to import login, authenticate, and login. And then after the user is logged in, we can return, redirect to what was it? Let's just go back to the home page. Else, we can just return, redirect, reverse to the accounts / login user. So if everything worked correctly, if I log a user in, if I remember these passwords, all right, that didn't work. What was it? Tom 2. All right, let's see what's going on here. Let's first sign up a user. Tom 5, AB. All right. AB. All right. So now I'm logged in. And now, since I'm logged in, we can actually do some stuff. So, let's add some logic in the login user. So if a user is logged in, I go to accounts / login. So it goes to login, but I'm already technically logged in. So I can say like, if request.user.is authenticated, return, render, or I guess return, redirect. So if I could do that, and if I refresh, it just automatically takes me to the home page. So accounts / login, since I'm already logged in. Or like you can kind of decide what happens when that happens. All right. Any questions on logging in a user and signing up a user?
How about like when you were trying to log in there and something was going wrong? In all likelihood, it would one of two things: either the user isn't found in the database, or the password is incorrect. Would we put that in the else statement, some sort of logic to show which one of those things would be true?
Yeah, so in here, you'd either do like So let's just print valid user. And I can't even log out yet. Let's first get to log out and then kind of see how we can handle that. So for log out user, so we have how to log a user in, log out. We can log out a user really easily by just use that log out. So let's import log out and just return, redirect, reverse accounts / login user. So with that, when we got sign up user, I'm going to create an A tag. So sign up, log in, href. I think it's like that. URL, login, let's do accounts / login user. / accounts / all right, so I can also go to login. So we'll see how that works. So I'll also just do log out. Just add buttons to here. Geez. So in here, if a user is logged in, so maybe I'll do some logic in here so I can say like, if user dot is authenticated or and if else. So if the user is authenticated, I want to have a log out button. If they're not, I'll have a login button. So in here, that's on the sign up page. No, ideally, if a user is authenticated, they shouldn't be able to visit. So log out user. There we go. Well, what the hell? So sign up. Let's see. If user is user not authenticated. Is authenticated Django template. Just looking for example. So that's what I'm looking. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. No. Let's see. All right. All right. I'll deal with this stuff. So let's actually like log out accounts / log out. All right. So I'll deal with like the templates and whether or not a user is authenticated. Wonder why it's not working. All right. So with that, so we have the ability to sign up users, log in users, and log out users. Now let's actually add tasks to that. So in our tasks, to do app, let's first inside of our templates, our task list, for, I'm going to add the user to that. So if I go to the list, all the users, all tasks for anonymous user, which we don't want. So what I want to do is to essentially not be able to create a new task. So let's just do refactor our to-do app. So on the home page where it lists all the tasks, if a user is not logged in, what do we want to display?
Probably the login page or the sign up page.
The login or the sign up page? Yeah, why not? So how can we do that? So inside of our views in our to-do app, inside the task list, we can say if request.user is authenticated, we don't want to grab all the tasks. We just want to grab the tasks associated with that user, but we'll deal with that later. So if they're not authenticated, we can like return, I'm just coming up with this on the fly, render the request to do app slash, we can have the login, or we just can create like a home page HTML and not pass anything in. So I'm just going to quickly create a home dot just to make things easy. HTML. Each one to do app. Please sign up or log in. Href URLs, is it URLs? We'll do accounts / login user. Hopefully this works. Wait, we want the sign up user. To create tasks. So if I come over here, refresh this, invalid block tag.
I think URLs are supposed to be singular.
All right, thank you. All right, so it says to do that, please sign up or log in. So if I log in, I can do TA pre, AB, log in. Now I'm able to create tasks. So all tasks for TA pre. Cool. So now let's So that's just the home page. Now in our views, we're grabbing all the tasks. We don't want to grab all the tasks. We want to just grab all the tasks associated with this user. So how can we go about doing that? Does anybody know what would be like tasks dot objects dot get user ID or user equals request dot user? Is there another way we can do that? If we already have the user object, user dot tasks dot all, we can grab the tasks that way as well. So if I refresh, we don't have any tasks, but now we want to create a task. So, but we want to create a task and attach a user to that task. So if the form is valid, task.form. So here we don't have a user attached to it. If we wanted to, inside of our forms here, where is this? No, instead of our to-do app. Why are the forms in there? I'm so confused. Oh, yeah, okay. I could add like that user field to add a user, but we don't want to do that. We actually just want to create a task that has the logged in user attached to it. So here we can do the task. Once the form is valid, we commit to false, so we're not actually saving it. And now we're doing task.user equals request. We're attaching that user to the task. And now we're actually saving that task with that user object attached to it. So if I refresh this, say Tom's task 1 and submit. Here's tasks. Tom's task 1. Is this task complete? It should say, is this task complete? No, this task isn't complete. If I go back to all tasks, I've got Tom's task 1. I can say 2. Is it complete? Completed, not completed. And now inside of maybe the home page, let's see. And this is where having templating is good. So I'm just going to have a log out. So I can log a user out. Href. URL. Accounts. So I just log out user. So I can log out a user. And I can do Tom5, AB. And say now I've got all tasks for Tom5. Tom5 doesn't have any tasks. Here is a task for Tom5. And there you go. I've got everything that's kind of, I've got different accounts now. So all tasks for Tom5. So now I actually have a user that has unique tasks to them. What else was I going to cover? This. Was it a task or was it in the other views? So if the user isn't valid, let's see. So if I don't pass in a valid user, so I'm going to log that user out. Sub random log in. So with that, what I can do is, let's see what that valid user says. It says none. So if it's not a valid user, I could just add some error handling here. Say how to pass data in redirect reverse Django. Here we go. Django return with parameters. I don't know if this is good. R's backend. I don't know what. All right. Well, I can always just return render the login page. Login. The form. Let's see if this. Errors. Or username or password. It was. So I'm just going to see if this is going to work. I'm going to see if this is going to be interesting. We're passing in this form with that request in there. But then in the login form, you can say like, if, just want to make sure. If error. And if. So if I type in something different, your username or password is incorrect. So that's how I can handle if there is an issue with signing up or logging in. Is inside of this view. Where did that go? So if the valid user is none, comes into here, just renders the login, and then I just pass in an additional error at field where it says here's the error, and then I check to see if in the login there are any errors. If there is, then I can pass that message in. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, there's like a form.errors in the Django documentation. Would it do something similar, or have you used that? Yeah.
So yeah, if there's anything with issues with like the form, like if I just click login, I'll see the form already has that. But this issue, where'd it go? So the form is valid. So there's nothing inherently wrong with whatever I'm filling out. But yeah, if there is any errors with the form that it doesn't abide by, you can check out that form errors. So we can actually check that out. Let's just see if this works. But it's probably, I have a feeling it's going to tell me. So I'm just doing a max length of 5 for the username. And if I go above that, oh, so it's not even allowing me to. Yeah. Well, so yeah, you can forms, errors, Django. So here's error handling, like server errors. Django. So forms.errors, enter a valid email address. You haven't looked deeply into this. So forms.errors, attributes to get dictionary of error messages. So yeah, if there is something wrong with your errors, looks like you can print them out, sender, which is a list of all the errors that occurred. Has data, cool. Has JSON, that's nice. So yeah. So if you ever get into an issue where the form is invalid, you can grab the errors from that. Oh, it's still. See, username is password is incorrect. There we go. Does anybody have any questions about implementing authentication? I mean, I can keep going with this with like random checking to make sure everything's working or error handling, but this is good for right now. There was like another thing. Oh, the login, log out page. Accounts. Or the sign up. Login, sign up. Oh, okay. That's working now. Login. So on the login page, maybe I want to sign up. There we go. So now I can just switch between those two. Cool. What questions do you have about any of this? No. All right. Well, go ahead and